And now for the most popular book tag on Booktube. It is the mid-year book freakout tag. This is the one that everybody does. It's like the mainstay of Booktube. I love doing this one. The reason why I think it is so outlasting is because it asks the best questions, but it just gives the best overview for the first 6 months. I wanted to finish my June reading to see if I had any new favorites. Spoiler, I do not really. And in making this, I'm a little depressed. And now I've got this fire under me to read more intentionally. Stop reading all the dumb stuff. Stop reading all the dumb stuff. Okay, let's dive in. The best book you've read this year, that would be the Hopkins manuscript. I adored this one. Can't even remember when I read it. March? April? Doesn't matter. I loved this. This was one of my classic science fictions. This came up, I think this is a republished book that it had gone out of print and has been republished, and it's just fantastic. It's about an ordinary man and his experience when the moon crashes into the earth, and he is so refreshing as a narrator. He is not perfect by any means. He is super judgy, he is super snobby, and he is so entertaining to read. So I was chuckling the whole time. I adored this book. If I can throw in a second one, I would say The Will of the Many. This one surprised me. I was fully ready to be like, oh, this is an overrated one. This is one that everybody says they love, and it's like, it's an okay fantasy. But I think this is a very good fantasy that I am going to continue in. This is sort of like a academia, kind of a Roman-inspired novel where the main character gets adopted and then is sent to this academy as a spy. But it's fantastical, so there's like fantasy powers and stuff, and it's all about hierarchy and working your way up. Very cool. Best sequel went for me to Emily Wilde's compendium, Map of the Other Worlds. Emily Wilde's Map to the Other World. This was so much fun. I think a lot of people were disappointed by this one, and I can kind of see why. It is beat for beat very similarly structured, and it is kind of predictable. However, it was just fun. It was enjoyable, and I really loved getting to know Emily and Brambleby a lot more and just enjoying their like interactions with each other. This was so much fun. All right, favorite reread. Have I read a lot? I haven't reread a lot this year, but obviously my favorite would be Sea of Tranquility. I was actually thinking about it today, why this one resonates so well with me, and I think it's because it has little nuggets of pieces of me. So it in some parts is set on Vancouver Island, which is where I currently live, so I have that connection. There is a mom who decides to sacrifice her career in going back to her child and her family, and I related so hard to that because that is what I did. And then another section of the book takes place on a farm, and they're sitting on the front porch and they're looking over their land. And I live on a farm, and I just really could imagine that because I have that porch that I look onto my land. So there are little pieces of me in this book, and every time I read it, I just connect more deeply with it. It is my favorite, one of my most favorite books of all time. Which genre have I read the most? I would say I've read a lot of mystery this year. Contemporary and historical, like I'm working through the Veronica Speedwell series, but I listened to a lot of, I don't want to say trashy mysteries, but like just like your regular kind of thriller mysteries. Got into some Nordic noirs. That was fun. I also have read quite a lot of science fiction this year, which is abnormal for me. And the reason is because that is part of my goal for this year, was to read a lot more classic science fiction. So it makes sense. That's what I'm reading. A new release that I haven't read yet, and I don't have my book here, and that is Little Fortified Stories by Barbara Black. She is my aunt, and she published her second book, and I'm super excited for her. This is my most anticipated book of the year because she's such a wonderful writer. I'm hopefully going to have a vlog for this. We'll see how we're doing. This is a series of flash fiction that have been previously published and have won numerous awards. So she's compiled them into little sections and along with her own artwork. So it's been a delight to read so far. My biggest disappointment, oh my goodness. The City in the City. I wanted this to be so much more. Turns out I don't like science fiction mysteries. This was such a big disappointment, and I almost hate finished this one. I'm so sad. I also was really disappointed by Children of Men. The writing is impeccable. It is lovely. Like, you can tell that P.D. James writes a lot. She's got lovely turns of phrases. However, the characters, bland as butter. Like, no. I was so infuriated by how I could not connect. And in reading several other reviews, it seems like a lot of other people have this issue. Most anticipated second half of the year. I really struggled with this one. I'm going to do a question mark, Silverborn. This is the 4th Nevermore book. This has been pushed off and pushed off and pushed off, so that is a question mark. But Richard Osman is also publishing a new book called We Solve Murders, and I'm not going to read what it's about because I just trust him. And from the title, I'm going to predict this is slightly satirical. That's my prediction. Biggest surprise. Oh, I had several surprises actually this year. The first book of the year was Whale Fall. How much fun. This was so much fun. Like, this is a silly little book. This is a scuba diver gets swallowed by a whale and he has to escape. And it was just the right amount of pacing. It's a big metaphor for grief as he deals with the death of his father, and just I learned a lot about whales. Yeah. I would also say The Chestnut Man was gripping, but I have since learned in talking with my mom, who is a Nordic noir aficionado, Nordic noir is very gruesome, and I definitely learned that. And I listened to The Chestnut Man, and it was like the first chapter, I was like, oh, 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 oh. It was a lot. I want to read more Nordic noir, but I think I have to have some later books in between. The other one that surprised me I actually read last month, and that is A Year A Year in Biblical Womanhood. Is that what the title is? The Year of Biblical Womanhood. That one. This one surprised the heck out of me. I was expecting, now she's got a passage in the book about this where she got a lot of haters because they all assumed what I assumed, which was she was a non-religious person and she was going into the Bible and she was going to be making fun of all these silly rules. Like, why do people have these? Absolutely not. She is coming from a religious background. She was so respectful in how she approached everything. She spoke with rabbis. She spoke with an Orthodox Jew. She spoke with Quakers. and Amish people, and she did her research. She was asking about how things were done with the people who do those things. And yes, she got a little bit silly with some of the interpretations, but I absolutely enjoyed. She delved into different women from the Bible and their stories and what their stories served as functions for, and misinterpretations, and how historically they've been perceived. So she added meat to her otherwise kind of silly little experiments that she kind of threw in. She was very respectful, and I really appreciated this book for that. Favorite new author? R.C. Sheriff. That's the guy who wrote the Hopkins manuscript. Don't know if he wrote anything else. And I don't know how to say her name. Donna Barba Higuera. I would read anything else by her because her writing, her story crafting was immaculate and beautiful. And I'm going to recommend this one to a lot of people. A book that made me cry, Shark Heart. This is got a weird premise. This is a man gets a diagnosis that he's slowly turning into a shark. And this could be horrific, and it could be satirical, and it somehow managed to be beautiful and sad and poignant. And it's about a new couple, and he gets this diagnosis. They've literally been married for a year, and it broke me, and it was good, and it was hopeful too. So, I'm crying just thinking about it. This was a lovely one. I have recommended this one now to several people. Okay, a book that made me happy. So, like, fantasy and romantasy is not like my usual genre, but A Fate Inked in Blood was so much fun. It was so much fun. There was I was just giddy the whole time, just like, ooh, it just had the right amount of fangirling in it, I love Danielle L. Jensen. She just writes twists really well. This is a Nordic inspired fantasy. So there's the Nordic gods that you're used to hearing. People are sometimes touched by a gift of their blood, and they can call upon that said god for protection or whatever. It's got an incredible beginning. That is a very, very strong introduction. So if you read it, you're gonna be hooked. The most beautiful book I've acquired. I haven't acquired a lot, but you will have seen my book haul, and that would be my aunt's book, Little Fortified Stories. She did the cover herself. I'm gonna see if I can put this up here. She does collages, and I'm also gonna put up her Instagram because she does these beautiful collages, and then she adds a poem, and they are so powerful. She just manages to find the coolest images, and just they're so neat. Okay, books that I need to read by the end of the year. Those would be my top 10 books. I always have to read those ones. So, Vita Nostra, I need to read that one. I need to read Red Mars. I need to read Storm. I need to read The Gendarme. I've stalled a little bit on that one. The Place of the Lion, that's my Charles Williams for the year. I'm excited because this was my favorite of all of his books. And there was one more. What was the other one? Oh, I need to finish Tyranny of Faith. I'm in the middle of that one. Loving it, but I'm in the middle of it. My favorite video that I have done was my nature recommendation videos. I wanted to marry my two current interests, and those were gardening and books. So I did one that was nature-inspired reading, so books that gave naturey vibes, and then the other one was books to read in the garden. And these are ones that I could just see myself kicking up my feet in a little Muskoka chair, just really enjoying the afternoon in my garden. Favorite community members that I have currently been watching. So I have started following these new people, and I dip in and out of their videos. I can't watch every single video. There's some people that I watch all the time, And then there's some people that I watch some videos. Those people are A-Star Reads, Beth Morvan. She does her Bookshelf Ultimatum. I haven't been able to watch all of her other ones, but her Bookshelf Ultimatum is so fun to watch. The Secret Sauce of Storycraft has been a delight to be watching. She's got impeccable, like, enviable editing abilities. And she gets all these cool clips and she throws them in and it looks so neat. But I just love her personality too. She's like snarky without being mean. She's very blunt and honest about a lot of stuff. And now her stuff is mostly science fiction focused. So I've been really enjoying her. Every single year, Paperback Empire, Lauren, love her. She's got her TBR Star Jars, and I just love listening to why she's chosen books. And she's been able to suggest a couple books that she's been into, and I've now looked up because of her. And the last one I want to recommend, not recommend, but like that I love, and that's the Book Bully, Jill. She's sort of in and out right now, but I absolutely love her stuff. I don't read anything that she reads. I like her personality, so. Oh, I've got the dreaded COVID. It's awful. Can't taste or smell anything, and it's awful. Let me tell you, I didn't realize I was a foodie until I couldn't taste my own cooking. In looking at my list of all my books that I've read this year, I don't have enough 5 stars. So this back half of the year, I am going to focus on books that I know I'm gonna love. And why am I taking out these books that are total distractions out of the library? I don't know. I need to focus on other ones. Karen, if you are watching this in editing, you need to be smarter about your reading, because this was a really difficult tag to do because there wasn't enough good choices. Okay, make better choices. My name is Karen. I'm the Book Libronaut. I read all types of books. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Oh no. I had my baby monitor on and my husband walked into the room. Did I change the lighting? I think I did. There we go.